be I will be taking you through my journey of a career in science, and please feel free to ask me questions as we go. So I want this session to be more interactive rather than me talking through my slides. Okay, so to begin with, I would like to share my story, and it really revolves in two different continents. So I grew up in India. I lived in India for the first 24 years of my life, and then I moved to the United States. So most of my education and early education, etc., has happened in India. So when I was putting these slides together, I was wondering, what would be a good way to, or how far back should I go? And I really went to my high school days, which was a long time ago. So many years ago, when I was a student, and I am only going to focus on grade 11 and 12 because that's when I decided to study chemistry. So I had joined a school that was far from my hometown, and I was living in a hostel and attending this private school for the last 2 years of my high school. And that experience itself was really humbling. But what I remember, I remember the moment when I decided to study chemistry. It was a chemistry class in the final year of high school. And this teacher was explaining how to isolate or how to purify iron from iron ore. And something happened at that moment. I think it was the passion of the teacher. I decided, okay, yeah, this is what I want to know more because this sounds so interesting. So I just made, a big decision of my life sitting in a classroom, and I never looked back. So that was when I was I was 18. So because I had already decided to study chemistry, I joined a college in a city, New Delhi. And I went to study BSc, and in India at the time we did have to take honors. So I took chemistry honors. And I spent 3 years learning physical chemistry, organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, etc. I got exposure to a lab, and I could really, see the different types of chemistry and different types of, in different areas of focus. Let me get my pointer. Okay, so this was a lot of fun, and of course, when you live many miles away from your parents, you have to also figure out other things in life. So the whole experience of going to college and learning new things was really cool. Then natural progression after BSc is MSc, so Masters of Science. So at that time, we could apply to different schools and write exams. And then, if you make it through the exam, you could go to the school of your choice. I chose to go to a school called the Indian Institute of Technology. It's an engineering school, but they also have, a master's program in natural sciences. So I joined the MSc program there in chemistry, and it was a 2-year program. So far, I have spent 5 years of my life studying chemistry. And then when I finished with my master's, I was really lost and I didn't know what to do. So part of me wanted to go back to my hometown and teach chemistry to students. And part of me wanted to, go to a new place and do my PhD. So I took a break and really thought through, and I decided to come to United States for my PhD and really continue my education. So I ended up in Arizona. I went to the University of Arizona. I joined their chemistry department and their PhD program, and I didn't really know what to expect. So it was fun, but it was a lot of, it was a long time. So it took me 5.5 years to complete my PhD. There were days when I just wanted to quit and leave, and there were some good days when experiments would work and everything would look good. So it was a commitment, and I stayed through it. And somewhere during those 5.5 years, I got married and I had my first child. So by the end of my PhD, I had a degree and I had a 6-month-old baby. And I thought, okay, I really don't want to do anything. I don't want to go back to the lab. I'm just going to enjoy my time with my baby. So I took a break, and I I took a break for about a year and a half. And during that break, I realized that I actually miss science, and I wanted to go back to the lab and do something. So I joined. At that time, we were living in Lincoln, Nebraska. So I joined postdoc as a postdoctoral researcher in a lab. It was a lot of fun science we were doing. I had another baby, and I also got a job. So all this happened within a year. So my job took us to Kansas City. We have lived there for 11 years. I was in different levels within the job. So it was a good job. And then a few years ago, 2.5 years ago, we decided to move to Irvine, California. And now I'm in my job number 2. So in a bit, I will tell you what these jobs are about. Both these jobs are similar. They are in biopharmaceutical industry, or broader area would be life sciences. And then let me explain to you what they are. But I just wanted you to know that my story, it was not a straight line. And if I look back, I just embraced whatever was in front of me, and I didn't know what I was doing quite a few times, but I would say that I stayed and I pushed through, even if it wasn't pleasant at the time, and I'm glad I did. So what we actually do is we make something called cell culture media, which is nothing but food for cells. So in the medicinal world, there are some traditional medicines that are under the pharma, that are under pharmaceutical sciences. So those are small molecules, they are synthesized. You don't need living cells to make those. You just need the chemicals. And then there are some other types of medicines called biotherapies, for which you do need cells. What I will show is a picture of something called bioreactor. And in a couple of slides, I also have the real picture. So a bioreactor is a huge vessel in which you can grow cells. And these cells are genetically modified to make a protein of interest. So imagine a cell, and you transfect it with genetic material. So the DNA will instruct the cells to make a protein that you want the cells to make, and that protein is then isolated as a therapy. So to make this, you need medium or food, and that's what our product is. So our product is a mix of different nutrients that cells need to grow, like glucose, amino acids, vitamins, micronutrients, buffers, etc. So everything is either packaged in liquid or solid, and if it is solid or dry powder, then it needs to be hydrated and made into a liquid. So the liquid, the cells, and some process parameters like correct temperature, pH, how the cells are fed, what kind of atmosphere is needed, how much carbon dioxide or oxygen is needed. Everything is set, and then the cells basically do their work and they make the protein of interest, and you isolate it, and that becomes the therapy. So this is what bioprocessing is, and this is our world. And a lot of big biopharma companies do this, and sell the final protein of interest and as a therapy. And similar processes also exist to make vaccines, or like, if I don't know if you've heard of cell therapy or gene therapy, but bioprocessing is a field, and people are really creative as far as medicine is concerned, and we use living hosts to make medicine for us. So moving on, to get a job like this, you need a basic science degree. It could be a degree of your choosing. Actually, maybe I should stop. Does anyone have any questions so far? I can't see anyone. So
I think we are good. Thank you.
Okay, good. Cool. So yeah, you do need a science degree, and then you, depending on your degree, suppose you have a bachelor's degree, then where you start in our industry will be different than when you have a master's degree or a PhD. Because, as you do a master's, you add 2 more years, and when you do a PhD, you add, 5 more years. So the entry level and your compensation and your responsibilities at the job are decided by what you bring to the table. But to be a scientist, we do need at least a bachelor's degree. And then more than technical skills, more than what you know, as far as the work is concerned, you need human skills to succeed. So the things that you need probably in high school, be kind to each other. If you hit, if you're in a place that's uncomfortable, you should figure out how to bounce back. And curiosity is really important, asking questions and just this, just the innate curiosity to figure things out. So these things keep you going. And I see, a lot of smart scientists in our field, they come, they join the lab, they know how to do science, but have a hard time getting along with people, and their career somehow stalls and they don't succeed. So it's very, very important to know how to, how to be a good human being to succeed. And lastly, if you don't like what you are doing, suppose you are a lab scientist and you are done being in the lab, so you shouldn't feel stuck, because if you are in research, you can go to other departments like marketing, sales, project management, etc. However, if you are in marketing and you have a marketing degree, it will be hard for you to come to the bench and do science. So, scientists are in a really good spot because they know the core of the business. They know how products are made. So we have a lot of scientists who started in research, but they did not, for some reason they wanted to change, and they are now in marketing, and they are very successful because they do understand the science behind the products that they are selling or marketing, etc. So, so this choice always exists if you are a scientist. Okay, moving on. Yes.
Have you seen your colleagues joining project management and marketing kind of thing after becoming a scientist?
Yes, we have many people who are in project management. It's a very common transition for scientists to be project managers or to be in marketing. They may go and take some classes, but yes, we have.
And that's what I feel, that becoming a scientist and then going into marketing or the project management will literally waste your degree, right? Don't you think?
No. I mean, this is, I guess you could look at it that way. But at the same time, it really enhances what you are doing as a marketing person, because you understand what it takes to make the product. So when you are marketing a product, you already have the background knowledge of what, how the product is made. So it becomes easier because they can actually relate to the product at a different level. And, when we are studying, we may not know what we want. So some scientists would prefer to be in marketing and they have the choice, but it's not, the other way around is not possible.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I was just thinking that, okay, why waste a degree by becoming a sales guy or a project management guy if you have done so much of research in science and technology, especially after you studying so many years, right? Whereas becoming a project manager or a sales guy, frankly, at this stage, you don't need a degree.
Yeah. So let me tell you, our head of sales is has a PhD. And
okay.
he is the head of sales and marketing. And so my interaction with him are at a different level than my interaction with just a plain sales guy, because he actually understands the science, and the relationship to the business, relate business to science. And it's just a different depth that the degree would bring.
Understood. Yeah, obviously, yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Okay, so why do I like my job? Of course, I just, a little bit ago explained, we do touch human lives. And here I'm showing an actual picture of a bioreactor. These are suspended cells. The colorful product you see is the medium in which the cells are growing. This is a bioreactor. All these tubings, etc. you see are for gas exchange, etc. and other things. And one of our products is actually used to make COVID-19 vaccine. So, we do impact, we do have an impact in the society. And this is rewarding to know that the product you touch can actually enhance human life. And then, yeah, I get to meet new people and travel. I mean, I guess the pandemic has stalled the travel a bit, but yeah, here I am talking to a fellow scientist, and he was explaining to me how near infrared spectroscopy works. And this is Scotland. We were there for a meeting, and and we get to go to conferences. So this was in Switzerland, where it was a beautiful place, and we talked science. And here we were teaching young children about DNA, and actually helping them extract DNA from their saliva. So we get to share the knowledge we know, either through different scientific communities or to communities around you, and that's quite rewarding. And then about challenges of my profession, just the main challenge for any profession based on science is failed experiment. We have to deal with them, and experiments don't always go how you want them to go, and that impacts timeline and a lot of other things, because the departments that are next to us, so for example sales, project management, all these departments depend on the science. So if the science is taking longer, everything else takes longer. But every time we have a failed experiment, we learn something. It's not a total waste. So failure is accepted, and you should expect it almost. So this picture right here, where the black dots are dead cells, we don't want to see this. We want to see live cells. So, but sometimes we look under the microscope and a lot of cells are dead, and we need to figure out why cells died. So yeah, I guess this is challenging. And then like any other profession, people take a lot of time to make decisions. And this can be frustrating, because you may know how things should go, but you have to work with your colleagues and they may stall things for you. So you need a lot of patience, and you have to really, you have to make sure that you can empower others to make decisions. You would think that in our field, it's science, it's black and white, and data should drive the decision. But even though we are in the field of science, a lot of times we have hard time taking decisions. So tips for entering the field. First, you get a degree, like I explained. This is a must. And then I do recommend people to get an internship when they are in college, if possible, because this really gives you a chance to come and see what happens in a lab, or in a workplace like this, or if you can shadow someone, that should also work. But get some exposure to what the job looks like. And then, like I said before, being in the lab may not be for you. So you should know whether being in the lab makes you happy or not. But you must remember that the real science happens in the lab, and everything else in any business is oriented around that science. So if you want a star product on the shelf, you should be in the lab making that product so that it can sell and make people's lives easier. So if you are driven by the innovation, then maybe being in the lab is for you. Okay, so moving on. I'm almost at the end. I just have a few takeaways. I did not find any classes that would really help you for this kind of profession, because it's really science degree, biochemistry, biology, analytical chemistry, anything chemistry or related degree is fine. But yeah, hard work is irreplaceable. If I look back to my high school days to now, you really have to work hard. There is no shortcut. You just gotta do it. And then you should have hobbies. Your job is your job, and you may really love it, but still you should always have this mindset of learning something new, because it, number one, regenerates your brain cells, and you should have something to fall back on, right? Because sometimes going gets tough. So whether it's working out, running, art, music, whatever it is, you need something beyond your job. And then be curious, not judgmental. So I heard this for the first time when I was watching Ted Lasso, but I think it's originally said by Walt Whitman, and it's so important. it's curiosity is really, really important. I'm sure it's important in any field, but in our field, if we are not curious and we come to judgment too soon, we may miss very important point. So this is something to remember. Okay, so I wanted to end with a chemistry joke, but all the good jokes are gone. With that, yeah, I'm finished, and I really want to thank you. If you have any questions, I have my email. Yeah, so I welcome any comments or questions, and yeah, I think we have a few minutes.
I think it was very informative. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course.
Especially your journey from where you came, and then the entire journey of how you have scaled up, right? That's very inspiring.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. I mean, when I decided in that classroom to do chemistry, know what I was signing up for, but things unfold, and you just got to keep going.
Yeah, thank you for the inspirational story.
Yes, you're welcome. So, I mean, are you guys interested in science? You have signed up for this talk?
Yeah, that's why we're here for the meeting.
So what inspire, like, what do you like about science?
I like biology, like also like cells and humans, like the bone structures and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Anybody else who wants to chime in?
I think so. Of course, my daughter is still in school, so I joined this particular lesson for her behalf. Okay, but I was thinking that to go into a medical school, I believe you have two choices. Right? One is the primary care, and the second one is research. Is this different than that, or is it similar to what we are talking over here? To become a scientist in a lab, vis-a-vis going to a medical school and doing research, how is that different? Or is it one and the same? Yeah.
Yeah, I think okay. So to do research and be in a medical field, you need to go into medical school, right? So I think when you are in medical school, you have a choice of becoming a professor and doing research, or being you can practice medicine. So that is a different field. So this is just bachelor's, master's, PhD. Some people do go for MD, PhD, and there they can definitely choose a topic of interest, do research, and also get their MD. So that it would be different.
You don't want your kid to be studying till 45 years of age, right? So yes.
Yeah, true. So from my high school to my PhD, I spent about 10 years. So yeah, it is a time commitment, and you have to make those calls, right?
Yeah. I just want to clarify that. So those are two different fields that we are talking about here. Okay.
They are two different fields. However, if you are a medical doctor, you can still do research.
You can still do research. Yeah, got it. Yeah. And I think eventually being in this field, it's not necessarily after a few years of your experience. I think the way I feel is that you can go into management of these companies and you can grow your ladder over there too, right? Because eventually you don't, after certain years, probably you might want to change the way in your same field, but into a more management layer where you can make certain decisions and then you go from there.
Yes. So for example, now I don't work in the lab anymore. But yeah, I'm still connected to science, and I have not, switched my field from research to marketing, but I could. And yeah, I think in any organization, you will have a career ladder, and you can choose to be in technical track, or you can choose to go to management track where you deal with people, or you have teams. So yeah, those choices exist.
I want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing with our students a little bit about yourself and your story and how you got to be in the position that you are in today. For our students, I have linked the check-ins in the chat. If you were unable to do it earlier, if you can please sign in so you can be entered into our raffle.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for joining.
Thank you
Thank you.
for the opportunity. Bye, guys.